Dear President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it is with a heavy heart that I address you and my fellow Nigerians today. Before I start, it's important to say that as a Nigerian and a member of the opposition, my loyalty is to country, flag, and constitution. And you, as a primary symbol of our flag, have my loyalty and support to the extent of your obeyance of our constitution. Having said this, my dear President, I want to tell you what you already know. The state of our nation is not good. The blood of the innocent is being shed daily in Nigeria while kidnapping and banditry are commonplace. Granted, you inherited this, but this should no longer be an excuse. At this defining moment when our dear nation is being ridiculed on the world stage, you should be the president who tells Nigerians the truth about this never-ending war that has cost us billions of dollars in taxpayers' money. Are you the president who will give the Nigerian people the real facts and figures on those who have been killed in this war, their tribes and religion, and the names of their communities? For those who have been displaced, what has happened to their communities? As rumor has it that their communities are being renamed and occupied by the same people who slaughtered and displaced them. Is this a conflict between farmers and herders, or is this a land grab disguised as conflict between farmers and herders? 4 presidents have come before you since this war started, and none of them told us the truth about what is really going on. John F. Kennedy said, and I quote, "A nation that is afraid to let its people judge the truth and falsehood in an open market is a nation that is afraid of its people." Mr. President, the time has come for us all to know our enemies and their motives. Is this a religious or political war? Who are the sponsors? We are tired of innuendos and threats of exposing those behind these terrorists. Surely you owe it to the people to expose and prosecute them, if they are known. We are now being told to forgive and grant amnesty to bloodthirsty terrorists. Can we forgive those we don't know? The oath of every public officer, every soldier, is to country, flag, and constitution, and not to tribe and religion. Treason is when some of those entrusted with the protection of the fatherland decide to protect terrorists because they are kith and kin, or because they share the same faith. You owe it to Nigerians to go after these saboteurs. The Nigerian people need to stand as one in this fight. But how can they when the government won't define this enemy or act decisively in the face of the obvious? Nigerian soldiers who once brought peace and pride to other warring nations are now being called cowards. How did we get here? This is Nigeria we're talking about. Who has brought the giant of Africa to her knees? Mr. President, we are ready as a people to face and fight any enemy, but we need you to tell us who the enemy is. We can no longer play politics with the lives of Nigerians. We must also remove the business from this war and face the business of war. The greatest threat to the morale of any soldier is knowing a few individuals are profiting from defense contracts while they risk their lives on the front line. My dear President, let me conclude by saying the following. There's no individual or group of people bigger than our nation or our laws. Your weakness is our weakness. Your strength is our strength. Your failure is our failure. Your success is our success. Napoleon Bonaparte said, the world suffers a lot, not because of the violence of bad people, but because of the silence of good people. The good people of Nigeria are probably silent because they are waiting for a president. They are waiting for you to tell them the truth. A leader is a dealer in hope. We are losing hope. We need to go beyond doing what is tokenism at this point. Every minute that goes by, every hour that goes by, every day that goes by, someone is kidnapped, someone is killed. In the war we face right now, simply changing the Minister of Defense, is that enough? The Minister of Defense is not in the front line, but he commandeers, but he's not in the front line. Nigerians want to know the truth about what is actually happening in this war. Every day what we hear about farmer-herder clashes. Is that what this war is really about? Now we're being told it's about mining. Is this war about mining? Are people being killed daily? Are young girls and boys being kidnapped daily because of mining? What's happening to the communities where the people have been displaced? Is this about mining or banditry? Or is it about land grab? Is it true that there's truly a genocide going on in Nigeria, as President Donald Trump has alleged? What is the truth? Going on 2 decades, no president has come out to tell us what's actually going on. We need to know the facts and figures behind those who have been killed so far. Beyond their names, we need to know their tribes, we need to know their religion, we need to know the communities and what's happening to those communities. What have we done to rebuild the communities where people have been killed or where people have been displaced? We now seek as a nation to start rehabilitating terrorists, whereas we ignore the victims of their heinous crimes. So we have to ask critical questions now of our leaders. This president has to be the president who tells us the truth about this war. What is really happening? Is this a religious or political war, or is it both? And if that's the case, what are we going to do as a people to confront this? It's not a war that a government can fight on its own without getting the people behind the war. The Nigerian people need to stand up and fight this war. But before we fight, we need to know who the enemy is. Are we fighting ourselves? Are the enemy amongst us as a people? Those are the questions we need to ask and answer. I was very clear in my speech. The president must unveil those behind this terrorism, those who have brought us to this war. Secondly, state police or state policing is long overdue. There's no reason why at this point, why we should be shying away for what is the obvious in the face of the kind of war we face. Our troops, I believe our troops are very brave men and women who are fighting this war, but this war is no longer a conventional war. This war is a war where the enemy is striking at soft targets across the country. Our troops are exposed at multiple flanks, so the people have to be part of this war at this point. Every brave, every patriotic man, woman, and child should at this point be able to arm up and face this terror that is before us. So state policing is long overdue. You spoke about the bill. Which bill again? You're talking about again? What's the question again?
The bill to review our exact laws
Concerning
to make sure
people.
carry costs.
Well, Nigerians carry.
Yes, in a time of war like this, we must do the unconventional to face the unconventional. If it means that every man, woman, and child should carry guns, like in time of war, then that should happen. That bill again is long overdue. We cannot have a situation where people, in the name of being headers, are carrying AK-47s across the country, whereas their innocent victims are left unprotected. How many policemen do we have in this country? How many soldiers do we have in this country? How many people can they protect? The people must be allowed to carry arms to protect themselves. When you have highly placed Nigerians who use opposition as a camouflage to destabilize Nigeria, and the government of the day is scared of going after these people because they don't want to be termed as going after opposition, then we're doing damage to our country. We can't keep on hinting or inferring to Nigerians that this is what is going on. Nigerians must be told the truth. What exactly is going on? It's now like a comedy. Every day you hear that a school has been raided and students are being kidnapped, and the next day you hear that these students have been released. Is it a comedy? Is kidnapping now a comedy in Nigeria? But this is what we're saying. So if you know these people, to reach to them to say that, oh, release these people, that means you know those behind this. You know their faces, you know their numbers. Why are we not going after them? Why are we not going after these people? We cannot be seen as a people, as a government, to condone the killing of our soldiers or our citizens. And we know these people and then we don't go after these people for reasons best known to the government of the day. This president must be the president that finally unravels the truth behind this war. Let's know who we are fighting. Let's not send innocent people out to fight a war that they don't know who they are fighting. You can't be fighting a war and the person next to you is the actual enemy, as we're now being told. A general was killed like cattle, disgraced. A general of the Nigerian army, the Nigerian army. The Nigerian army we're talking about was the pride of the entire African continent. And this is the army we're now being told cannot overrun a ragtag bunch of terrorists. There's more to this than meets the eye, and we need to unravel the truth. To the extent of the role that morality or our value system plays in a society. Yes, we are debased as a people. We have lost it completely, and we need to start rethinking our whole value system. We need to think completely, thoroughly, because of the next generation, so that they don't inherit who we are today as a people. We need to thoroughly rethink that. We can no longer be rewarding those who steal, those who commit all sorts of crimes. We cannot be rewarding them with positions. We cannot be rewarding them with contracts. We cannot be rewarding them with amnesty. We cannot be rewarding these people with clemency when their victims are there crying. When the blood of the innocent is screaming to high heavens, we cannot be seen to be rewarding those people who are the terrorizers. As a society, we must turn around from this practice.
What are you expecting?
I will say this to General Musa. He's been a commander in the theater of war. He's a retired army general, and he knows what it takes to fight war. War is about our territorial integrity. War is about our honor as a people. War is about defending our image before the Committee of Nations. War is about sending a message that Nigeria as a nation is a very strong nation. He must ensure that we face the business of war and leave business out of war. For too long, we have heard all the stories about juicy contracts and what have you, whilst our innocent citizens die and our soldiers sometimes are left uncatered for. In this new office, yesterday he spoke about the general who was killed and about unraveling the near and remote causes. This is 2-3 weeks, too long already to unravel what happened. Too long. When they speak about someone giving a command to withdraw troops and the next minute a school is raided, we don't need to wait 48 hours to know what actually happened. General Musa must in the next few days tell us the true story of what actually happened. We must see something happening to those people who are sabotaging our nation. We are tired of political statements. We cannot wake up one day to hear that an innocent child has been taken from their place of study, or that someone has been killed in their place of worship, or that someone has been taken from the sanctity of their home. That should no longer be us. It should no longer be accepted as our way of life. What we see now, what we call normal, is an abnormality in any climate. We now accept it. When someone is killed, we're done making it, or someone is kidnapped, we now have skits. Don't worry, they will pay and these people will soon be released. Or else our nation just goes to dogs. We cannot continue like this as a people. We must start asking critical questions. To those who seek to make this war and the victims of this war about politics and about 2027, I tell Nigerian people, reject any such person who brings politics into the blood of these innocent victims. This should never be about politics. Because if you allow politics to come into this, you play the game of the people who are destroying our nation. Anybody who brings politics into this conversation, where innocent people are being killed, then you know the enemies of Nigeria. It's not about politics. We've done this for too long. We need to start defending our people and fighting this war. We start fighting this war.